Hey guys, Gina here from the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. I am super excited to be here with you today to go over some Peg booster seats. I've got them right behind me. Let's launch in and talk about what makes these Peg booster car seats so special. All right, let's get right in. So, what models are we even talking about? I've got them right here, folks. This one that I'm lifting up on my right, your left, this is going to be the Shuttle Plus 120. So this is one booster seat that Peg offers. Now, if you're like, oh, okay, cool, don't worry, because they offer 4 different booster seats, but we're only going to talk about 3 of them today. Thank goodness. Another booster seat that you see right here that I'm lifting, this is going to be the Flex 120. So this is a booster seat that I've done lots of videos on. It's a personal favorite of mine, but realistically, I just think Peg boosters are pretty sweet. Yeah, so we'll get into the differences. And then finally here on my demonstration seat, I have got, I've got it actually installed in the seat. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it if possible from behind. This is the Shuttle 120. And if you're like, wait a minute, didn't you just say the other one was the Shuttle Plus? I did. So there's a Shuttle 120 and then there's a Shuttle Plus 120. This one, the Shuttle 120, does not have the backrest. The Shuttle Plus 120 does include the backrest. So I guess since this is our odd man out, we'll end with this, but I am going to remove it just from the demonstration seat so that we can look at the other ones if we want to. Now, both of these car seats in front of me are booster seats, which means that there is no internal harness. These are not seats for children that would require a 5-point harness. These are car seats for kids that are using a 3-point harness. So your minimum age, I think, is probably 4, and your minimum height is going to be 39 standing inches. I would never suggest using a booster seat that small. This is for when your child outgrows their convertible car seat from both the weight and the height or the seated torso length of the 5-point harness. So if they're still fitting in their 5-point seat, leave them in there. We would never tell you to move to a booster seat sooner rather than later. But when you are ready, that's what's going to be so special about these particular models compared to a lot of the other ones. Now, they both clock in at $299 price point, which I'm sure a lot of people are like, whoa, I can get a booster from Target for $20. And yeah, you sure can. If you were to sit in it, I don't think you would want to because it's probably not very comfortable. The main thing with these seats is that they are ergonomically designed. They're some of the best in terms of like depth and width for the actual seat pan and where the kid is sitting. So like the dimensions make more sense for little bodies than a lot of the stuff that's being sold. And additionally, it's all made in Italy, flame retardant free. So it's just that quality is better and it's gonna have that higher level of quality control than you get with some of the other brands. So I cannot stress that strongly enough. Additionally, they have a 12-year expiration date. Additionally, aside from that 12-year expiration date, that is from the date of purchase, not the date of manufacture. So if you buy one and let's say it was made 6 months ago, that doesn't mean that you've lost 6 months of its lifespan. They're still gonna cover it from the date of purchase, not the date of manufacture. And something extra exciting is that if you purchase either one of these from an Agio Peg dealer, which is somebody like me, you get a 5-year warranty instead of the typical 2-year warranty. So if you're like, oh, yeah, I'd prefer to pay the same price than get a longer warranty, then just buy it from an Agio Peg dealer, which I am. So you can certainly buy either one of these on my website, destinationbabykids.com. Okay. So this guy over here on the left, the Flex 120, your right, my left. This is going to be a solution that I always give to people for narrow cars. And one of the big drawbacks that I hear, or one of the reasons that parents fight me on this one, there's no armrest. That one doesn't have any armrests. My kids will hate it. There's no armrest. Okay. Maybe let your kids sit in it first before you have a tantrum over something you perceive to be a very large deal that the kid may or may not care about. So again, this would be something I would actually have my child try. Additionally, if you look at either one of these booster seats, they sit very low profile to where my hand is slamming on the table. Why does that matter? If we're asking a kiddo that's sitting in this seat to go ahead and reach down to that seatbelt buckle stock to buckle and unbuckle the seat on their own, having a low profile booster seat, not a seat that hoists them up 7 or 8 inches into the air, is probably a really nice option. So both of these are going to do that really, really well. Now again, on Flex 120, no armrests. On the Shuttle Plus 120, you do get armrests. And here's the thing that kind of threw me for a loop. Even though this guy has armrests, it's still only 17 inches wide. So if you were doing a 3 across situation, you could fit your Shuttle Plus in between 2 other car seats. Now, I still think the Flex 120 makes more sense for a 3 across situation because of the accessibility toward the buckle stock, meaning that the kiddo can get at the seatbelt release more easily on this one because it doesn't have armrests. But again, these are just minuscule differences, and it's kind of cool to point out that this Shuttle Plus 120 is only 17 inches wide. So very nice option if you wanted to do 3 across. Now, both of these seats are awesome because they have this 3D grow with your kid technology. And people are like, what the hell does that mean? What it means is that if you look on the back of this seat, if I squeeze this handle at the top, that's going to raise the headrest. So that's where it's useful, because you can see on both of these seats we have aluminum for that piece running through the spine of the seat. So that's great. If you look right here, this is an additional squeezer. This is on both of the booster seats that I'm going to be showing you. If I pinch this and pull up, I am able to grow the body of the seat. So obviously you see on this Flex 120 here, I'm going to turn the Shuttle Plus back around. But you see on this Flex 120 here, I've just raised the headrest. Well, okay, but that's not the only direction kids grow from. And that's why they have this option to raise up the body piece as you see beneath. Now, both of these look pretty narrow. There's an additional dial on the back of both of these. And if you look here, this is the dial I'm referring to. If I pinch that and spin, it's making the seat wider. So now, yes, the seats are going to expand beyond 17 inches wide when you engage the wings to widen them, but it's a nice feature for growing bodies. So definitely useful. And people are like, well, how long do they have to stay in the booster? There's actually a 5-point test that you're supposed to do to determine if your child is ready to move out of a booster. And the first thing would be like, do their knees come over the front of the seat and actually their feet sit flat on the floor? For 95% of you, that's not going to be the case, so stop lying to yourself. You probably have a kid out of a booster too soon, and that's okay, but it's just something to be aware of. These aren't, again, punitive things to punish parents. This is just to help keep the body in the vehicle in the event of an accident. It's giving your kiddo their best chance of survival in an accident. So, that being said, how are these different? Again, no armrests on the Flex 120. Flex 120, also your overall seat pan all the way to the back is 14 inches. When you go to a seat with an armrest, like the Shuttle Plus 120, as we move further back on the seat pan, the seat actually gets narrower because we have armrests, because armrests are more comfortable. Yeah, but that means that the back of the seat is going to be narrower because you have to start the armrest to grow from somewhere. So while both of these are pretty good side to side width once you get toward where the knees would break over, toward the back of the seat, the Shuttle Plus is going to be narrower. It's going to be 12 inches wide. So still pretty wide, but not as wide as 14 as you see on the other one, which is sort of counterintuitive considering that the Flex 120 is theoretically the better fit for narrow seating. But again, it's the no armrest. So on Shuttle Plus 120, we get the armrest. Shuttle Plus, you would also get a cup holder. Flex 120 has 2 cup holders hidden in the seat itself. So they do slide out. Here it's a separate cup holder on your Shuttle Plus 120, which can be put on either side. Now both of these guys have this really unbelievably cool lower anchor system. So you're like, lower anchors, what are you talking about? What I mean is that when you're ready to install it in a car, if you watch the yellow pieces here, they've kicked out. I squeezed a handle here in order to kick those out. Now I can attach my car seat directly to my vehicle seat, and I don't need to have this buckled in with the seatbelt if there's no kiddo sitting in the seat. So like if I'm driving and I stop suddenly, I don't have to worry about the seat flying up and hitting a passenger or hitting me because it's attached physically to the seat. So that's the benefit of a lower anchor on a booster seat. So people think a lot of times for safety, yes, it definitely helps add stability, but in general, the biggest safety benefit is that it makes sure that the seat is not a projectile in an accident. Now, the other thing that's cool is that because it does slide in and out, these seats both have a little bit of a spectrum of recline, meaning that yes, you can still recline your actual seat back, but if you pull the seat a little bit forward and then recline it, it'll have the full support and you do get a little bit more recline than you do with some of the other brands. The same is going to be true on your Flex 120. There's your rigid latch, and they are sick. So easy to take in and out compared to most other brands. Now, Flex 120, despite being narrower, doesn't have the backrest removed from the seat. So that's where your Shuttle Plus is going to maybe be a greater value. Now, both of these will go up to 63 standing inches and 120-pound children. So if you're like, whoa, that's huge. It is, especially compared to most other boosters. Now, Flex 120, if you wanted to travel with it or store it, it can fold, which I'm trying to engage the folding piece on it for you guys. There we go. So it can fold in half. And then it has like a little piece where it all goes together. So like you could put it in a backpack and wear it, you know, through the airport, whatever, store it in your car, whatever you need to do, but it does fold up. It does not have the backrest come off the back. Now, if you're like, what are you talking about? Remember how we were talking about the original Shuttle 120, not the Shuttle Plus 120? This is Shuttle 120. And this guy also has the sick lower anchors, rigid. It'll have the cup holder included in the purchase price. I love this yellow. It tells us where to squeeze to be able to release those anchors. Also for removing, it's not like some kid sitting next to your kiddo is going to be able to undo the latches. They actually have to be hit from there at their fullest extension. So like there's a lot of safety thought that's gone into sort of the planning of this stuff. But let's talk about this. Why would you buy a Shuttle Plus versus a Shuttle 120? I rarely, in this day and age, sell the butt-only boosters anymore. There's nothing wrong with them. They're fully functional. The biggest issue is that if a big kid falls asleep, 9 times out of 10, if a parent has the, and again, you would set this prior to putting it in your car, if your parent has the butt-only booster and the kiddo falls asleep, they almost always come back to the store for a second purchase of a booster seat with a high back. And it's because if they fall asleep, now this is all here to hold them upright. If they're in butt only, they slump. Now, that being said, I have a lady coming in with a child with special needs. He's 9 years old. He still needs to be in a booster seat. He also prefers sort of the texture and the way that it feels to sit on. And it provides a better fit for his seatbelt. So, for a child who's 9 and tall and big, what is special about this one? And you would get this here, but like in her case, I wouldn't tell her to buy this Shuttle Plus because there's no reason for her to have a high back at this point. I mean, yeah, supposedly if he falls asleep, it might hold him better. But I do think that even with the body pieces here, it's still going to be kind of a snug fit on a kiddo that big. So what's special about this? Well, the thing that I was reading and I thought was really interesting was one of the complaints and criticisms that I was able to find on any of these. And believe me, I did look far and wide, and it was hard to find complaints and criticisms, but I did find them because I do care to tell you guys this stuff. One of the things that people were saying is that, hey, that Flex 120 is really shallow. It's a really shallow booster seat. So I checked it out, you know what? It's the same depth as a Kiko Go Fit. So no, it's not that shallow. It's 12 inches. It's the same as your Shuttle Plus 120, which means that the depth from the backrest to where the knee breaks over is 12 inches. Okay, but when we get to the point where we're removing the backrest, so our kid is like 9 or 10 years old, they no longer really sufficiently fit with the backrest, and it just doesn't make sense, or yeah, to use it anymore, we go ahead and take that part off. So fully removable backrest, now it says directly on the back of it, use the backrest as frequently as you can because it's better to use it than not use it. So they want you to use it. But if you do take it off, the benefit of the removal is that now if a kid is sitting on this seat and they're back to the backrest of the car, you have about 3 additional inches of depth. So if we're talking about this 9-year-old sitting in the seat for the next few years, I would absolutely encourage her to do the backless version because her kid's probably, you know, at a point where he's not falling asleep the same way like a 6-year-old is or a 7-year-old is. And additionally, the seat will be significantly deeper to accommodate a longer set of legs. So hopefully this helps illustrate the differences between the Shuttle 120, the Shuttle Plus 120, and the Flex 120 boosters from Peg Perego. The 2 high back versions that I showed you are both $2.99. They come in other colors. This little butt only comes in 4 colors, $119 to $129 depending on the color. Again, made in Italy, all of them. If you buy it from like my store, you get that 5-year warranty, which is amazing. Check us out at destinationbabykids.com. But if you have questions or you have comments, please feel free to leave them below. Please feel free to hit like. Please feel free to subscribe. You can check out my booster seat video on the Flex 120 on its own. You'll also be able to check out the Shuttle Plus video on its own if you want a little bit deeper dive, or the Shuttle 120 video as well. Okay guys, it's getting hot. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in our next video.